Welcome to The Road to America's Past, your key to the secrets of the past's everyday life. Today, we will embark on an exciting journey back in time to explore how Americans lived and what life was like in the 19th and 20th centuries. Join us to discover incredible stories and customs that bring the history of America and the rest of the world to life.
In the heart of an old, charming house, there stood a magnificent clawfoot tub, its feet intricately designed like the paws of a lion, a relic of a bygone era. This tub, a centerpiece of the family's spacious bathroom, had a story to tell. Decades ago, it was purchased by Mr. Harrison, a sailor who had traveled the world. He brought it home as a reminder of the luxurious baths he'd seen in distant lands. Over the years, the tub witnessed the growing family, the children's laughter echoing as they splashed during bath time, and the quiet evenings when Mrs. Harrison would soak in it, seeking solace and relaxation. The tub became a symbol of family heritage, with each scuff and mark narrating a piece of their history. On cold winter nights, the family would gather around it, pouring in hot water, creating a warm oasis amidst the chilly air, sharing stories and dreams. Now, as the house passed to the younger Harrisons, the clawfoot tub remained, a testament to enduring elegance and the simple, timeless joys of home and family. In a cozy, well-loved kitchen of the 1920s, there stood an elegant corner cabinet, an heirloom passed down through generations. This cabinet, with its intricate woodwork and glass doors, was Mrs. Bennett's pride. She meticulously arranged her finest china and cherished keepsakes within it, turning an ordinary corner into a showcase of family history. Every Sunday, as her family gathered for dinner, Mrs. Bennett would open the cabinet, each piece of china telling a story of past celebrations and milestones. Her grandchildren would listen in awe as she shared tales of their ancestors, connecting them to a rich family legacy. One particular Sunday, Mrs. Bennett decided to pass on a set of porcelain teacups to her granddaughter Lily. Handing them down with a tender smile, she shared stories of the teas and gatherings they had graced. The corner cabinet, more than just furnitura, became a vessel of memories and tradition, bridging the past with the present and weaving the family's stories into the fabric of their everyday lives. In a quaint village, Mrs. Baker's cozy cottage was famous for its Dutch door, a charming feature that split horizontally, allowing the top to open while the bottom remained closed. This door was a beacon of Mrs. Baker's warmth and hospitality, welcoming the village into her life. Each morning, as the village awoke, she would unlatch the upper half, letting the melody of birds and friendly hellos drift in. The irresistible aroma of her freshly baked goods, especially her famous apple pie, would waft out, inviting neighbors to pause for a moment, share a story, or enjoy a slice. One sunny morning, a weary traveler, drawn by the inviting half-open door and the sweet smell, found his way to her doorstep. Mrs. Baker, with her kind smile, offered not just a piece of pie and a cup of tea, but also friendly conversation, guidance, and a touch of home, embodying the spirit of community and the simple joy of sharing life's pleasures. Let's imagine a story set in the early 20th century in a small town where everyone knew each other. There was a family who owned a small dairy shop. They used an icebox to keep their milk and butter fresh. Every week, the iceman would deliver a large block of ice, cut from the frozen lake during winter and stored in a special ice house. The family carefully placed the ice in their icebox, a critical part of their daily life. As the ice slowly melted over the week, it kept their dairy products cool and safe from spoilage. The arrival of the iceman was always an event, especially for the children who would eagerly gather to see the huge block of ice, marveling at how something so simple could be so essential in their lives. This was a time before the convenience of modern refrigeration, a period when the rhythm of life was closely tied to the natural elements and the community. In a small, picturesque town in the 1950s, every home had a quaint feature: a milk door. This was a special, small door built into the side of the house, allowing for direct milk deliveries. Each morning, as the sun rose, Mr. Smith, the friendly local milkman, made his rounds, quietly placing bottles of fresh, cold milk in these doors. In one such home lived a young girl named Lily. She was fascinated by this daily ritual. One day, she decided to leave a thank you note for Mr. Smith in the milk door. Along with the note, she placed a small hand-drawn picture. To her delight, the next morning, along with the milk, there was a reply. A note from Mr. Smith thanking her for her kindness and a small bunch of daisies. This exchange sparked a friendship. Soon, other children in the neighborhood started leaving notes and drawings. The milk door, a small but significant part of their homes, became a symbol of community and kindness, bridging generations and hearts in this small town. In the heart of New York City during the roaring 1920s, there was a small, cozy apartment owned by an aspiring actress named Evelyn. Space was a luxury in the city, and her apartment was no exception. To make the most of her limited space, Evelyn had a Murphy bed, a clever fold-up bed that could be stored inside a wall cabinet. Every morning, she would wake up, fold her bed into the wall, and transform her bedroom into a living area where she rehearsed her lines and entertained friends. The Murphy bed wasn't just a piece of furniture, it was a symbol of her resourcefulness and ambition. One evening, after a small gathering with fellow actors, Evelyn joked about how her bed could disappear and reappear just like magic. Her friends were fascinated by this ingenious contraption, marveling at how it maximized her space. For Evelyn, the Murphy bed was more than a convenience. It represented her dreams and aspirations in the bustling city, a city where even the smallest space could hold the biggest dreams. In an old Victorian house, adorned with elegant picture rails along the high walls, lived Mr. and Mrs. Anderson. These rails, a staple of decor from a bygone era, allowed them to hang and rearrange their beloved art collection without damaging the plaster walls. One afternoon, they decided to update the gallery with new paintings. As they carefully selected and hung each piece, the walls began to tell a story. There was a painting from their honeymoon in Paris, a landscape from Mr. Anderson's ancestral home, and several artworks by local artists they admired. Their granddaughter, Emily, would visit and marvel at the changing gallery, each visit revealing new stories and memories. The picture rails, a simple yet ingenious invention, not only beautified their home, but also created a living tapestry of their lives, connecting generations through the art of storytelling and visual splendor. In the Victorian era, in an elegant London home, a fashionable new toilet with a high cistern and a pull chain for flushing was installed. For the family living there, this was a marvel. They were used to more primitive means like outdoor privies, so having such a device in their home was truly revolutionary. Young Johnny, the family's youngest son, was especially enthralled. He was amazed and charmed by how the pull chain worked. Johnny loved to yank on it, listening to the water rush down with a whoosh, cleansing everything in its path. For him, it wasn't just a toilet. It was a symbol of progress and innovation. Every pull of the chain was a small adventure, a moment of fascination in his daily life. This was a time when even the most mundane aspects of life held a sense of wonder and the promise of a new, modern world. In the 1930s, a small suburban house featured a charming telephone nook, a built-in space for the family's phone and phone book. Mrs. Harper, the owner, cherished this modern spot for her daily calls to friends and neighbors, sharing news and plans. One day, she used the Nook to secretly organize a surprise birthday party for her husband. Whispering into the phone, she invited their friends, turning the Nook into a hub of excitement and secret planning. The successful party highlighted the Nook's role in connecting lives and creating memories, symbolizing the era's simple yet heartfelt communication. In the late 1800s, in a small rustic cottage, the daily ritual of washing up was done with a wash basin and pitcher, cherished household items before the advent of indoor plumbing. Emma, a young girl living in the cottage, was entrusted with the task of filling the pitcher from the well each morning. One chilly autumn morning, as she carried the water back, Emma spotted a small, shivering bird by the doorstep. With a gentle heart, she used some of the water to care for the bird, washing and warming it. This act of kindness became a morning tradition. The basin and pitcher, once just functional objects, became symbols of compassion and care in Emma's hands. Her mornings of washing up transformed into moments of nurturing life, showing how even the most routine tasks can be infused with love and kindness.